Now we're going to learn how to create or enable you to be able to attack any mob on screen, or mobs that you want to be able to allow to be attacked you can and others you can't. Now to do this, first off we need a variable. I've got a variable can attack with a capital C and A. That is set to 0, so any mob I ever create will inherit the variable 0. So, but in the bad guy that I've created called bad, I've set it to 1, so that means it can be attacked. 0 means it can't be, 1 means it can be, like false and true. Then I've created another variable bk, and the icon is set to null and the density is set to 0. I'll explain why those two are essential later on. Then if you go to the world, you'll see, if I go to the world, you'll see I've created a bad guy just there. I know the icon's the same, but I just can't draw, so you have to bear with me with my terrible drawing. Anyway, now to create the attack. Now we're just going to create a verb, and it's going to make sure that any other mob we create will inherit this verb. So we're going to have a verb and we're going to call it attack. Now you may have seen some attack procedures on the internet for byond where in here you start typing in, but the only problem is when you do that you kind of attack any mob within the area, and it does ask you sometimes what mob you want to attack. That is no good. I want to be able to attack or only attack the mob that I'm facing. Okay, so that's what we're going to have a look at, how to create one of those. First off, we need to have a loop. We're going to go for a variable which is a mob, which is m, which is as a mob in OView1. So there we're checking for all mobs within OView1, but how can we work out if the mob that we've got, or the direction that we're facing, the mob is actually just in front of us? Well, that's what the bk variable's for. So here's where we're going to insert it. We're going to go variable mob bk, which is, I'm going to just stick n, equals a new, and then we're going to set it to srcs.location. So the location will equal the same location as ourselves. So this blank and invisible mob will equal our location. Then what we want to do is we want to step the mob n in the direction of src, in effect us. Now what will this do? Well, we're going to attack. Let's say there is a mob directly in front of us. Well, what's going to happen? We're going to create a mob, an invisible mob, in the same square as us. We're then going to step into the direction. Now, straight away, the mob that we've moved will be on the same location of the enemy if we've attacked him and he's in the same direction. The reason I stuck the density to 0 is otherwise it won't happen like that, and the mob will never be able to move because he's moving into a hard object or a hard mob. You could work on the bump procedure doing that, but I'm not actually going to do that because it would probably add a bit more depth to it, a bit more complicated. So that's what I'm not going to do. So I'll set the density to 0. Okay. So now he has stepped. He's one tile ahead of us. No matter what direction we're facing, he will always be one tile in front of us in that direction. So all we need to do now is check that the location of n, so n.location, if n.location is equal to m.location, so if it's equal to the same location as the mob, which is in one tile of us, then we know that it's going to be the correct mob. Secondly, the mob we've just created, bk, will also come up when we do this search for any mob within one tile of us, so we need to ignore that. So we're going to use another if statement. If m.name does not equal, or what we've called it bk, then again we'll go to this one, so we're making sure it's not our fake mob or anybody else's in effect. Now what do? We're checking the location. It's the same location, it's not the right mob. Okay, in that case what we're going to do is we're going to go del m, and then we're going to break the procedure, because we no longer break the loop, should I say, because we no longer want to loop. We've already found a mob, we want to kill him. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go and del N. We don't want to waste up any memory. That should be in speech marks, so I best stick it in speech marks, and whatever put dia.src. Should have corrected me. It's src.dia, isn't it? Well, I'll get there eventually. src.dia. And if you were wondering, yes, I had typed it in the wrong way. Okay, no errors now. So now I'm going to run. And as you can see, if I try and attack this mob, nothing happens at all. Oh, something does happen. I can kill him. And I can also kill this one. I'll show you why. I forgot to include the can attack variable. So after all this, if I'll actually stick it earlier so we can reduce the coding. I'm going to stick it here. If m.can attack, then follow the rest of the code. Compile. Now watch. Now I can't kill this guy. That's much better. I don't want to be able to. But this guy, voila, he dies. Now, that's really it. We can now attack any mob that we want. All we have to do is we have to set it to 1 that it can be attacked, and this attack procedure will work for anything, which is rather cool. So, as I've said, there you go. That's a basic attacking system that you can incorporate into your games.